Imagine a kingdom so vast it touched 3 continents, a land of power, culture, and wealth, the Persian Empire. For over 200 years, it ruled with strength, uniting people of different languages, beliefs, and traditions under one banner. But no empire lasts forever. What seemed unshakable began to crack, and the mighty Persian Empire faced its downfall. Its story is one of glory, ambition, and inevitable collapse, a reminder that even the greatest civilizations are not immortal. The Golden Age of Persia. To understand the fall of the Persian Empire, we must first appreciate its rise to greatness. In 550 BCE, a visionary leader named Cyrus the Great ascended to power, uniting the Persian people and laying the foundation for what would become the Achaemenid Empire. Cyrus was not just a conqueror, he was a statesman of remarkable foresight and compassion. His policy of religious tolerance and respect for local customs earned him the loyalty of conquered peoples, including the Jews whom he famously allowed to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. Under Cyrus and his successors, the empire expanded rapidly. By 525 BCE, Cambyses the coup had added Egypt to the Persian domains. The empire reached its zenith under Darius Grand, known as Darius the Great, who implemented a series of reforms that would define Persian governance for generations. He divided the empire into provinces called satrapies, each governed by a satrap, and linked these far-flung territories with an extensive network of roads. The seeds of decline. Yet even as the Persian Empire stood at the height of its power, the seeds of its eventual downfall were being sown. The vastness of the empire, once a source of strength, began to pose significant challenges. The system of satraps, while effective in managing such a large territory, also created the potential for rebellion and fragmentation. The empire's expansion brought it into conflict with the Greek city-states, leading to the famous Persian Wars. In 490 BCE, Darius's forces were defeated at the Battle of Marathon, a humiliation that would be compounded by his son Xerxes' failed invasion of Greece in 479 BCE. These defeats, while not immediately catastrophic, marked a turning point in the empire's fortunes and exposed its vulnerabilities. Internal strife and external threats. As the 5th century BCE progressed, the Persian Empire faced mounting challenges both from within and without. Internal rebellions became more frequent, with Egypt successfully breaking away from Persian rule in 404 BCE. The empire's resources were stretched thin, trying to maintain control over its vast territories while also fending off external threats. The Greek city-states, once on the defensive, began to take a more aggressive stance. The rise of Macedon under Philip II and his son Alexander posed an existential threat to Persian dominance. Alexander, young and ambitious, saw in the Persian Empire an opportunity for conquest and glory that would reshape the ancient world. The coming of Alexander. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor, beginning a campaign that would spell doom for the Persian Empire. The young Macedonian king was a military genius, and his army was a finely tuned instrument of war. In contrast, the Persian forces, while numerically superior, were often poorly coordinated and led by commanders more concerned with their own power than the empire's survival. Alexander's invasion was like a whirlwind sweeping across the Persian domains. In a series of decisive battles, Granicus, Issus, and finally Gaugamela, he defeated the Persian forces led by Darius III. Each victory brought Alexander closer to the heart of the empire, and with each defeat, the aura of Persian invincibility further crumbled. The last stand of Darius III, the last Achaemenid king, found himself in an impossible situation. His armies were in disarray, his empire crumbling around him. In a desperate bid to save his realm, he gathered his remaining forces for a final confrontation with Alexander at Gaugamela in 331 BCE. The Battle of Gaugamela was a clash of titans, a meeting of two great military traditions. Darius had assembled a massive army drawing soldiers from every corner of his vast empire. Alexander, outnumbered but undaunted, employed brilliant tactics that allowed his smaller force to outmaneuver the Persians. As the battle raged, Darius watched in horror as Alexander's cavalry punched through his lines, driving straight for the Persian command position. In that moment, Darius made a fateful decision. Rather than stand and fight, he fled the field, abandoning his army and effectively conceding defeat. The fall of Persepolis. With Darius in flight, Alexander pressed on to the heart of the empire. In early 330 BCE, he reached Persepolis, the magnificent capital of the Achaemenids. The city was a testament to Persian power and artistry, its palaces and temples adorned with intricate reliefs and towering columns. Alexander's treatment of Persepolis remains one of the most controversial episodes of his conquest. After allowing his troops to loot the city, he ordered it burned to the ground. The great palace complex, the pride of the Persian kings, was consumed by flames. Whether this act was a drunken impulse or a calculated message to the Persian people, it marked the symbolic end of the Achaemenid Empire, the final days of Darius. As Alexander consolidated his hold on the Persian territories, Darius III fled eastward, a king without a kingdom. His flight ended tragically in the summer of 330 BCE when he was murdered by one of his own satraps, Bessus Alexander. Upon finding Darius's body, reportedly covered it with his own cloak in a gesture of respect for his fallen foe. With Darius's death, the Achaemenid dynasty that had ruled Persia for over 2 centuries came to an end. Alexander assumed the title of King of Kings, presenting himself as the legitimate successor to the Persian throne. The aftermath and legacy. The fall of the Persian Empire was not just the end of a dynasty, it was the end of an era. The vast territories once ruled by the Achaemenids were now part of Alexander's even larger empire. But Alexander's empire would not long survive its creator. After his death in 323 BCE, his generals divided the conquered lands among themselves. In Persia itself, a new dynasty would eventually rise. The Parthians and later the Sasanians would attempt to reclaim the glory of the Achaemenids, but the world had changed and the days of a single empire dominating the known world were over. Reflections on an empire's fall. The fall of the Persian Empire offers many lessons on the nature of power and the challenges of governing a vast, diverse realm. Internal weaknesses, including the decentralized system of satrapies and the gradual decay of military prowess, left the empire vulnerable to external threats. The rise of new powers, particularly Macedon under Alexander, provided the catalyst for the empire's collapse. Yet, even in defeat, the legacy of the Persian Empire endured. Its administrative systems, its art and architecture, and its concept of universal rule would influence succeeding empires and cultures. The fall of Persia marked not an end but a transformation, a passing of the torch from one great civilization to another in the ever-turning cycle of history. As we reflect on the rise and fall of the Persian Empire, we are reminded of the impermanence of power and the enduring impact of cultural achievements. The Achaemenid kings built an empire that spanned continents, but their greatest legacy lies not in conquered territories, but in the ideas, art, and innovations that continue to shape our world today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Hit the like button, share it with your friends, and let us know in the comments which part fascinated you the most.